What about the food?
Well, the food, you really didn't have a chance to, you ate so quickly, you didn't really have a chance to really appreciate, I'm sure, the hard work that went into preparing the food. I was on the, at the time, what we call a chunky chicken. You know, I was on a chunky chicken list, and we had where our TI would be at the end of the line, of the child line, and make sure you had, because I was, this is before the weight standards had changed, and I was 5, you had to be within 10 pounds of your weight, and I was like 5 pounds within my weight. And our TI would stand at the end of this, at the child line, and make sure all his chunky chicken will make sure we had, you know, had salads, drink plenty of water and things like that. And I mean, it was just a way of keeping us in line, because we had to weigh in. You know, we had to go through the weigh. Yeah, we had to go in to weigh in. No one liked that. But it was really, you had so many, you know, it was just so many different choices that, but you know that your TI was down at the end of the hall, you know, so you couldn't, if you wanted that brownie or wanted something, you know, you dare not take it because you were so afraid, you know, you dare not take it.
Now, during this time, did you work on the wards, or what did you do between, this was all
basic training?
Basic training? You didn't work on were you in that category already, a medical technician?
No. Once when you signed up, you knew that's what you wanted. You know, that's the area that you're going into. But doing basic training, we weren't in that yet.
Okay.
We had.
This was just basic training.
And just follow up on this. You were relatively young. Did you guys get into a lot of calisthenics?
Yes. Yes. Definitely, we did.
That look in your face, it wasn't pleasant?
At first starting out, it wasn't, even though prior to going in, because my brothers were in the military, I started running and, you know, trying to get into shape and things like that. Every morning, every single morning, 5 o'clock, you had your backpack loaded down with everything that you pretty much own on your back. And we were, you know, we had to go to, whether this was for immunization or go to these different areas, we had to march, go in there. Then we had a time where we did our calisthenics, our exercise, our push-ups. Boy, those push-ups. You know, the push-ups, and you had to run. And it was so fun, you know, doing those. Because, you know, you learn all the songs, you know, they had different cadences and things like that you learned. And we quickly learned that it was either the team got over all at once, or we all will be penalized, because they really taught you how to be a team, you know, how to look out for each other. And there were some that were lagging in the back, and, you know, the stronger ones would kind of encourage them on so we can, you know, meet the
how many people were on your team? So was it like your barracks or your squad, or what? How many people?
In my squad, we had about 20 or so in our squadron. Our barracks, there were hundreds. You know, there were hundreds of us in our barracks. But it was hard. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't easy, especially, you know, you're not used to that. But it's knowing that you had to. This was contingent of you going forward. You had to pass your you know, your calisthenic. You had to pass that. You had to go through the obstacle course, which, you know, everyone was just dreading. You know, but after going through the obstacle course and, you know, looking back at it, you see why we had to do all those things. You know, we're preparing us for, you know, the obstacle course.
Was this integrated, or were you just females?
Our squadron was only
females?
Female.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, was only females.
So you did female push-ups.
Yeah, and those were still hard. They were still.
And this was for 6 weeks.
Yes, it was for 6 weeks.
Now, at the end of 6 weeks, did you get a leave?
No, we went straight from
Peace?
after the 6 weeks in basic training, we went straight to Wichita Falls, Texas, where that's where we received our training for my MOS, which was our
medical
med tech. Yes,
med tech.
Yes.
That was your designation? Was med
Yes, medical service specialist. That's what we were called.
And did you work on the wards then, or or was it a classroom?
It was a classroom. They taught us everything. We had an instructor, and then we had the CPR class and all those things that we learned. And then after that portion was done, then I went to Montgomery, Alabama, and that's where we worked in the hospital.
Okay. So how many weeks were you in Wichita?
I was there for about 2 months or so. We were there.
And that was all classroom?
Yeah.
No, you didn't have any practical training during that time? Or did you have?
Not in the hospital. Not in a hospital setting. It was all done, in the classroom setting. So we had our lecture, and then they would do like a return demonstration, type thing.
Oh, you did have demonstration.
Yeah.
And then that was about 2 months?
Yeah.
And how did you get from one place to another? Did they fly you there, or did you take a bus, or how did you get?
No, we flew. Once that training was done in Wichita Falls, Texas. At that time, we got our orders as far as those who were going overseas. They went to their duty station. For those that those who were active duty got their duty station. Those that were reserve, we went to our. In my case, I went to Montgomery, Alabama, where I did the training, the actually hands-on in the hospital setting.
We used to call it practical. Do they still do?
Yeah.
And so you worked on the wards.
Yes, we did. And we, had a regular shift, whether it was day shift or afternoon shift. You rotate with your preceptor, someone that was there, one of the nurses.
You worked with a nurse.
Right. Once you get there, they show you around on the particular unit, med surg unit in my case, and then they show you, exactly what is expected on that unit and things that you are doing. And for like a week or so during the orientation process, someone is there as your preceptor. From that point, then you're on your own until you were finished. And we were there for about, I think it was about 2 months. I was there, and then after that I went home.
Now, during this time, did you work on the wards alone, or were you always with someone there, a mentor or a preceptor? You called it a preceptor.
Well,
you always worked with a preceptor.
No, for the first week, while we were there initially, while I was there initially, of course they had someone there to show you what needs to be done on the day shift, the afternoon shift, or the midnight shift. It depends on which shift. Yeah. And you always had someone. You could either go to the charge nurse or one of the lead med techs at the time. If you're not sure about something. But one thing I really enjoyed, once that phase was over and I started working when I was active duty and working as a med tech, I really appreciate the things that we did, because it really prepared you for working. Once you get out the military, to work on the outside. Even though, as a civilian, I don't think they didn't really. We were doing so much more, as opposed to someone of my equal in civilian. Yeah.
And so you were this is in Mobile. No, this was in.
At my active duty duty station, both at Pisa